Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's still morning here in Texas. I think East Coast. It's noon. It is a nooner. So it's a morning here and it's a nooner there. And California, it's even earlier. So good morning and good afternoon or good noon to you all. RT Bear here, almost 40-year comic book veteran. This wild, wacky industry that we know and love. Comic books are everything to me. Everything. Everything. And yeah, I got this killer. Actually, you know what I need to do before I show this sucker off? I need to scratch out. Hey, everybody, I need to scratch out some addresses here. We don't want that. We don't want anyone knowing that stuff. Okay. So it's a big, big ass package. And it was sent to me from Scott Dunbier in San Diego, California. And I heard these things are badass. The artist editions. I imagine that's what this is. I'm not 100% sure, but he said he was going to send something to me, and I assume that's what this is. So let me make sure all of this stuff is unreadable. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Nobody. All right. I don't care if I get in trouble. I'm always in trouble. This thing says it's 7 pounds. This thing's big. Look at this. And I will tease that for a bit, and then I'm going to hang out with you guys, and then we'll get to it. And I have some photographs I found of the old days. So I'm hoping the camera will like it and show you guys in clarity. Sometimes I have a problem with this camera bouncing back light, but this is not a white page, so it should be okay. So I borrow ideas, only the good ones. Linkovich says, greetings from California. Yes, indeed you do. Darren says, hi, T-Bear. Mr. K, in his way, will challenge the world, or whatever that Beatles song, however that thing goes. Hello, Art and the chat. Hello. What is up? Hell, D-Wag. Who's D-Wag? Is that Wagner? Is that Darren? I like D-Wag. Emmett, how are you? Looking good. Yeah. So we got Victor Thomas in here. Howdy, Art. What's up? We got Jasper Plan 9. So this is going to be a little bit of a Q&A too. So you guys have some questions, anything, what's up? We'll interact, and we'll do about an hour maybe and see how everybody's doing. Don't have a whole lot to talk about. I was thinking I could show some of these photographs. They're hilarious, man. I believe this is the first time I met Jim Lee. And I think it's the first time I met Mark Pasella too, that I became really, really fast and close friends with. So let me see if I can do this. Okay, so this is Jim and Mark. So Jim is in the foreground with the pin in his mouth, and Mark's there standing up. And so I believe this is San Diego Comic-Con, but this is at the old Civic Center. This isn't the big Comic-Con. And so this is Artist Alley. And I think Jim was working on Alpha Flight, or just started Alpha Flight at the time. I was doing a lot of the Titans, Titan Spotlight stuff, Teen Titans. And I think I was working on the Aqualad story when I met Jim. So Jim was at Marvel, I was at DC. There's Jim. You can't even recognize him. It doesn't even look like him anymore. And who's that guy in the middle with the fist, always ready to throw down? And then there's Mark. And one of the things we did here is I was still kind of from that whole rock and roll thing. Hold on for a sec. I'm sorry. I got a frog in my throat. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's very rude to do it on air. And so we used to go and we just, well, we didn't, we just did it this one. I think we did it after this, but this was the first. I went to San Diego with a bunch of my my rock and roll friends. So I was still, in bands and playing at the time. I think that this was going on. So I was kind of getting out of music, going more into comic books and art and things like that. So I had them come anyway. So we got a room. We trashed the room. We literally trashed the room. So we still in that rock star mindset. We gave a bunch of money to the maid service for the room because we felt bad, but it was pretty devastated. We had a wall of like beer cans. Like we had, oh my gosh, there was so much. There was illegal substances. We had a guy from LA. He was one of my friends, I guess dealers, and he brought a bunch of stuff in one night, and we put it all up our nose and didn't sleep at all that night. It was crazy. It was insane. And so in the daytime, we brought a igloo cooler, and so we had a bunch of styrofoam cups, and we had beer and whatever else in the cooler. So we were basically like bartenders, in Artist Alley. So we were just kind of like mixing drinks and handing out beer and everything to anybody who wanted it. And so that's how I met Jim. I offered him a beer and I said, "Hey, Jim, you want a beer?" And he said, "Yeah." So we knew that Jim was cool. And so that was the first day there. I mean, we didn't mess around. We didn't ease into it. We were just like, we partied for like 3 or 4 days, like crazy. It was intense. And so just hit it off with Jim just instantly. And so then we were going to party later that night, and asked if he wanted to join, and he said sure. And so the funny thing is, we were at the Hotel San Diego, which I don't think is there anymore, and we were going to go down to the lobby or whatever and meet. And so as I was leaving my room, Jim was leaving his room. We were on the same floor, like just 2 doors down from each other. It was pretty funny. And I do remember, I think Wills and Scott were with Jim. They were bunking. They were roommates. And so I do remember, like, Wills was like, "Are you sure you want to go with those guys?" Like he was a little nervous. Like Wills didn't trust us, but I think Jim's a little Jim likes to party a little bit more. I've never partied with Wills or Scott, but I have partied with Jim. And there's nothing wrong with partying. I don't want to make it sound like Jim's a loady or anything like that. But he liked to have a good time. We like to have a good time. We were young. We were also, I mean, you saw the picture. We're in our early 20s, and so so we went out, and Mark and I had found some flyers for different parties. Like in those days, there wasn't like the big Wizard parties or the big WB parties or anything like that, or Disney or Marvel. There was just like little parties in people's hotel rooms and things like that. So we found some flyers, and so I think one we went to, it was Teenage Ninja Mutant Ninja Party, and it was Eastman and Laird, and they had a suite at some hotel. And so we went there and we had our flyer. So we got in and drank and hung out, and we were just getting angry. It was me, Mark. I think there was a guy named Stan Walk. He was working with Alan Moore on Swamp Thing. Who was the other one? Steve. Oh my gosh, the colorist. He did all the early Spawn stuff. He was basically the guy that originated all the and started with all the digital coloring. Steve, not Oh my gosh, I'll figure it out as we go along. But anyway, he was with us. His assistant Abel, who was he was a really good colorist as well. Like Steve always had good people. And but who else was there? I think there was just some guy. He was a black guy. He was a Marine, and he was just he was out on leave or something like that, and he didn't have anything to do. So we saw him in the lobby, and we just said, "Hey, you want to party with us?" So he just came along with us, and he was like our cameraman. He documented everything, which I do have somewhere, but I think it would incriminate us. There's some there's some really bad stuff there, but I still have the pictures. And he was just snapping shots of us doing really stupid stuff. And so we hung out at the Eastman Laird Ninja Turtles party, and they were making money there. And I remember talking to one of them, and he was like, "Yeah, I just bought a Porsche in cash," and I was like, "Oh man, I'm working too hard here. Black and white comics is the way to go. Black and white cartoon comics." And so I do remember. And this is over, like I'm making it sound like it's all one night, but it was probably over several nights. And so I remember, a group of us we were like, "Oh man, how's this possible?" So we went down to the bar and we just started drawing our own, like black and white, like furry comic or whatever they called them, because they had a whole slew of them, like Miami Mice and Pandacon, and God, there was just a ton of them, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I guess I should just call them Ninja Turtles. That's the easier way to say it. And so yeah, we went down and we drew about 8 pages of it, and we were just kind of like, well, if they can do it, we can do it. And of course, it just fizzled out, and nothing ever happened after that drunken, high moment of inspiration, I guess you could call it. I still have those pages. I saw them somewhere, so maybe I'll show them. We just drew them on little sheets of paper. They were nothing but they were pretty good. But yeah, they weren't on artboard or anything like that. And so, oh, what else did we do? We crashed another party. I mean, we literally crashed this one because we were coming in, and the guy stopped us at the door, and he said, "Is that alcohol?" Because we thought we would be cool. So we went out, we got a bunch of alcohol, like bags of everything. And so each one of us, like Jim, Mark, Scott, or Steve, and Stan Walk, and and the Marine, we just had like 6 packs or 12 packs under our arm. And we thought we'd be the cool guys, right? We'd bring in like all the alcohol and, let's get this party crazy kind of thing. And so the guy was like, "Is that alcohol?" And we're like, "Yeah, like, this is cool. Let us in. We'll share." And so he was like, can't bring alcohol into the room. And then I was like, "Well, why not? Why can't you bring alcohol into the room?" He's like, "Well, we have an understanding with the hotel." And I was like, "This is a party, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." I go, "What are you guys doing?" And so just about then, Mark's a big guy, just kind of pushed the door open and we all just walked in, and yeah, we just kind of took the place over. And so we're handing out beers and everything, and everybody was okay with it. They were like popping the beer and just drinking with us. But the guy that was throwing the party, I don't even know who these people were, to be honest. And he's like, you can't do this. So he's just kind of getting in our face about it. And we're trying to have a good time while this is going on. And so I went in, it was a suite. So in those days, you could actually afford a suite. And so I went into the other room, and there's like a table, like a dinner table kind of thing, like a small round table. And there's guys sitting around it, and they're all drawing like, I guess it would be furry porn stuff, like just like Wile E. Coyote getting BF'd by the Roadrunner, or just different stuff. It was actually pretty nutty, and it was pretty crazy. To be honest, it was kind of gross. And so I was just like, No. And so I think I brought Jim or Mark over and they saw it and they were like, nah, we don't want to party with these guys anyways. They're creepy. And so we just left. So I think we just ended up walking around San Diego, like the gas lamp and everything. And we were just drinking on the street. Like it was pretty weird. And so then we ended up on the rooftop of the Hotel San Diego. And I guess we thought we needed a souvenir of the evening. So there was on the roof, there were 3 flags. There was the American flag, there was the California flag, and they actually had a Hotel San Diego flag. It was this big yellow flag. These were big, like on the rooftop. They were massive. And so one of us went over there and like, these things aren't locked down. Like they're not expecting anybody to, steal a flag. So we thought like, oh man, let's take a flag. So we brought down the Hotel San Diego flag and we took it. There's pictures of all of us holding up this Hotel San Diego flag on the rooftop and in the hotel room. And I had that for years, like in my all my apartments, I would hang that on the wall. It was quite the souvenir. So yeah, we were a little thuggish, like I said, we were still from the rock and roll kind of thing. So not necessarily 100% proud of stealing and stuff like that. I would never do that now, but it was a different time, and we were just kind of rowdy, early 20 somethings and just kind of blowing off steam. So I do remember having a good time doing it. I just think maybe in this day and age you have to preface it like wasn't real happy, with vandalizing things and stuff. But it was what it was, and we all have a good time. And that's basically how I met Jim for the first time, how I met Mark Pasilla as well, and then Steve. Oh my gosh, what the heck was his name? The colorist. Steve Oliff. Steve Oliff was the guy's name, and he did all the early Spawn stuff. So digital computer was his thing. He actually did the first 3 issues of Black and White as well. So his studio, it was called Oli Optics, and they did all the color work on Black and White as well. Oni 64, shout out to the Woodlands. We had a little bit of rain this morning. Not that I'm going to get into weather, because I know you guys hate that now. You hate it when I give the weather report. So, oh, cool. So Art Rich Studios got some of the artist editions too. Art was thuggish and ruggish. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it lasted for maybe 5 years, and then I calmed down. Yeah, Olaf has quite the resume indeed. He did these epic. They were the Akira adaptations. They weren't adaptations, they were colorized versions that Marvel did, and they did them in the deluxe like graphic novel format. They call it graphic novel now. I think they just called it what did they call it then? They were, I forget what they were called. It'll come to me. Everything comes to me in time. So yeah, so then yeah, he did those. They were gorgeous. And then he also did like this blue line color. So he did a lot of blue line color. I think he colored the Cosmic Odyssey stuff, the Mike Mignola, was it? Oh my gosh, I forget who else worked on that book. But yeah, that was gorgeous. He worked with Howard Chaykin a lot, and he did blue lines. So that was like in the old days, they didn't have digital color. So the only way you could get like color transitions and like more painterly is to actually paint it. So you couldn't, there was no digital. So he would paint them on blue lines. So what they would do is they would print them in a smaller, like 8x11 or whatever size. They would print out the page in blue, and then they would paint the blue line artwork. They would just paint right over it with gouache or acrylics or whatever it was. They would paint it, and then there was acetate, like an animation cell that would go over that, and that was the black line. So then they would photograph that for the negative so that they could print. And so that's how it was done. So anything you saw in the old days that looked really cool, it was done blue line color. And so that's how they did it. because we just didn't have digital. So then Steve went right from that to the digital coloring, and in those days it was absolutely mind blowing. I know that coloring has just eclipsed that at that moment in time and gotten a lot better. But he was the pioneer. I think he was the only one I remember in the early days doing that stuff. And it's a shame he's I don't know what he's doing now. I don't know if he's still coloring or whatever. But yeah, he was a thug too. He was actually kind of low key. He didn't really do much. He just kind of partied and watched us do stupid stuff. Okay, well, I'm going to get into opening up my my present here. Let me see what Sheldon Martin says. Hey, Jim, remember when we stole the San Francisco flag? Rock and roll. Yeah, it was a Hotel San Diego flag. When they tore that building down, it made me sad. So yeah, so this is a book, believe it or not, and it weighs 7 pounds, and I think Scott Dunbeer sent it to me. Let me see, how should I open this thing up? And he told me that it had a few pages that I worked with Jim, and I guess that Jim also comments in the book, and so there was some comments. So I hope they're all favorable. What if he said something like Art's a thug, and I never liked him. I never liked him. He made me drink and do stupid stuff. All right, so I guess this slides out here. Ooh. Nothing in there. Nothing up my sleeve. Oh man, look at this sucker. Yeah. So this is that, man. That cover has been homaged multiple times. So let me see. I think you want to keep this box intact because it's a nice box. Let me see. There's a tab here. I don't want to screw up this box. So let me see how I could do this without doing that. Okay. It should just pull out of this. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Is it taped? Nope. Oh my gosh. This thing, even the box is cool. So look at this box. So then it hinges, and there it is, man. IDW Artist Edition. I believe these were all scanned from the originals too. We'll take it out and look at it and see. Man, I'm going to show this off the studio for sure. I wish I did the cover though. That would be cool. Let me see. How do I get this out without damaging? Oh my gosh, 7 pounds. It's all this book too. Oh, so there it is in its glory. So I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put my camera out for a minute, and I'm gonna close the shade because I think there's too much light bouncing off everything. So when there's less light, it actually works better for the camera because these are going to be white pages. So there it is. Oh my gosh, do you remember that? So I think as soon as I take the plastic off too, it'll be less reflective. Okay. Get the plastic off. So thank you, Scott, for sending this to me. I do appreciate it. I know there was one that was done. They used some of my cable artwork, I think, but I never got that copy. So here we go. Ooh, there's the spine. All right, so let's see what we got. So it's kind of awkward. Make some room here. So I will go through it. Oh, shit. This isn't messing around right off the bat. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, Jim got good. Yeah, so after Alpha Flight and just hanging out at the con, I just we didn't hang out. He lived in San Diego. I was South Bay, so we were different locations. So, oh my gosh, this is early Jim. I like early Jim a lot. Look at this. These are all, I believe, original size. The artwork. So you can see kind of on the borders, you can see the page numbers and all that. Yeah. Holy crap, these are gorgeous. Here's the Captain America. Look at this. Wow. Okay. Let's keep going here. Man, I gotta remind myself not to get too self-indulgent here. After the show, man, I'm gonna go over every page of this. Like, I remember that one. I remember that one. I remember that one. Some of these are signed by Jim Lee. Wow, they have the word balloons on them too, and they're all like the word balloons are kind of yellowed. Yeah, I gotta remember this stuff. I gotta channel some of this. Look at this. Yeah, this is like not messing around comics. This is like giving people what they want. The Savage Land. Let's see. Ah, there we are. I guess I signed this too. So this is Gemini. So there's a Rogue. And then see the smaller panels there. Yeah, I was still in kind of my bloopy phase. So I was inking Dan Jurgens the same time I did this. I think I was working, I was inking Walter Simonson's Fantastic Four too. So I inked Jim Lee on this issue, the Fantastic Four with Walter, and did finishes with Dan Jurgens. Let me see. It's this way. There's the credits. I guess this one came signed. So there's my signature, Jim's signature. I'm not sure who that's Chris Claremont. So this one's signed by all three of us. So Chris Claremont, Jim, and then myself. You can see the notes, and you can see, and this is off the actual board. So all the type and the word balloons are a little yellowed. This is cool, man. Look at that. I remember getting these pages. I was like, holy shit, this guy is good. Yeah, I did a pretty good job on this. Yeah, this is probably my second or third year working with the heavy hitters, Marvel, DC. Probably my second year, because I'm still working on Jurgens. So, yes, pretty good. Yeah, Jim was awesome. Some of these pages, like Scott and I were so like working together and kind of riffing off each other. Some of these pages are hard to tell what he did versus what I did, because sometimes we would just like work with each other, like on the same book, but like uncredited. So I would just jam on a page and then he would jam on a page. And sometimes, well, it was mostly me actually, and I wouldn't get credit. And then I had a studio, so I had Trevor Scott and Danny Mickey working as assistants, and they did backgrounds for me, and then they filled in the blacks. And so I remember us doing some backgrounds and stuff for Scott. So we helped out even in the early days before I was like really working with those guys. Holy crap, man, this stuff is amazing. I remember I talked to you guys about like red lines before, and so like what we'd have to do, because there wasn't digital color. So which side is it on? It's over here. So right here you can see like red, like the buildings are outlined in red. And then if you see the note, it says drop red lines. So what we would do back then as the inker is we would outline with a red marker. And so then what would happen is the red line would show up as, for the colorist, it would show up as a holding line. But then what they would do is the holding line wouldn't show up in the final production. So it would just be color on color, because back then to just do it, you had to have a line to deviate between things. And so in this, you could do it with the red line, and then you didn't have to have it as a black holding line. So then you could, that's the only way you could do color on color. And so that's stuff we used to do. For some reason, these pages, I want to say that I worked on some of these. I think I did. I think these are all mine right here. So these pages here. Hey, we got Walden Wong. So these two pages are mine. So there's that one, and then there's this one here. Yeah. I want to say that one with the red lines was me too, but I'm not sure. Like I said, we just kind of bounced back and forth on a lot of pages. So it was kind of hard to figure out who did what. I do remember this page right here, and I was supposed to ink it. This is Magneto, and then we were getting behind, and then Scott was like, hey, just let me help out, let me ink the last page. And Scott knew what was on the last page. I didn't know what was on the last page. And so yeah, he got to ink the money shot, the Magneto page. Son of a gun. Yeah, there's all kinds of notes in here and everything. This is cool. Yeah, so a lot of times, like I said, you couldn't really tell one from the other, like as far as inks. And sometimes we would just, jam on the same book. Oh man, I just saw something. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I hope I can do this without. Jim gave me this poster, not that one, this one here, when it came out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this without destroying it. Let me see. You know what? I'll show pieces of it. And then I think if you guys were around then, you'll know what this was for. It was a retail poster, and it was like 4 11 by 17 pieces. So it's the one with Storm on it. And then it folded, maybe if I move back, it folded out. Into this. So it was a massive retail poster. And it's basically 3 11 by 17 pages. And then on the back, there's the X-Men 4 cover pullout. I didn't work on those. I wish all the glamour stuff went to Scott. I got some cool stuff too, though. Let me see here. I think we're now into like just X-Men. So I think the other stuff was Uncanny X-Men. So I don't think I did anything on the early launch of X-Men. So like issue 1, issue 2. I might have started coming in and helping out on issue like 4 or 5. Holy shit, look at this. Man, you know what? I know it's just a big head, but it's still pretty damn cool. Oh my gosh, this is bringing back some killer memories. It was very stressful. We were doing this stuff so fast, like there was no time to think. We were just banging this stuff out. So at the time, like if you guys don't know how it usually worked, is there were 4 of us. So there was Jim Lee, Will Spartaccio, Scott Williams, and myself. So between the 4 of us, we did the main 2 X books. So we did Uncanny and then X-Men. And then the way it started is Wilson and I did X Factor, and then Jim and Scott did Uncanny. Okay, so those were the 2 books that we started and we went into. And then when Jim and Scott went on to the new book, which was X-Men, it was just called X-Men, Wilson and I started on Uncanny. So we just kind of moved that way. And then Wilson was doing, and like I said, I was kind of bouncing back and forth between the books, and I think Scott was inking some of even Will's at the time, my book. So there was it was whatever happened, like deadline wise. That's kind of how we did things. Sometimes Jim or Wills would even ink their own pages if there wasn't time. And so then we went that way, and then Wills was like dropping behind or something. And so they asked if I could do I think Jim asked if I could do finishes over Will's. And I said, I'll give it a try. And so most of that, I don't remember if it was X Factor or if it was Uncanny, but it was one of those books. I did a lot of finishes on them. I was just getting outlines from Will's, like all that crazy hatch work and stuff. I was making all that stuff up. It wasn't there. And so, I did that to help out the schedule. So, we were doing that, trying to get all these books out, monthly. And so then I think when Jim started getting a little bit behind on X-Men on the schedule, he thought to speed things up, if I could do finishes over his breakdowns, and then Scott would go over and work on Wilson's book. So we kind of did a switch over. So, Scott went on to Uncanny, and then I went on to X-Men and worked with Jim. But I do think that I was helping out even before that. I'm trying to, because I don't think all the pages are here in this collection, but enough of them are. So these are me, these 2 pages here. There's actually a lot more than I thought there would be. So these 2, these are my inks over. These are my finishes actually. So I don't know if I got credited. Does it say? Yeah, it says finishes. So all that hatch work and stuff, that wasn't there. Like all that Wolverine hair and the hatching and the lighting and the shadow, that wasn't there. I made all that stuff up. So I would go in and kind of pencil over his pencils and like finish it up and then ink it. So yeah, good times. Crazy times. Yeah, so wow, that's a lot of work. All that zipatone and everything. Yeah, that was just me making stuff up. I think this one is yeah, it's hard to tell. I think this was me as well, because I think I remember that side blade going into her head there. I think, hopefully I'm showing it. Yeah. So let's see what else we can find. I thought there was like little, like Jim said, things in here. Maybe not. I don't remember this page. I think this is issue 8. This had to have been me. This tooth and claw page. This one here. So we were fooling around with zipatones and stuff. Oh my goodness. God, I wish I had some of these pages. Shit. I think this was when I was doing, I think this was the Ghost Rider stuff, or starting on the Ghost Rider stuff here. So let me see here. Yeah, I'm totally blanking on some of this stuff. So some of this is really, I don't think it might be Jim himself inking it. But this is the Ghost Rider stuff, I think. So this was the time I was working on the book, I believe. So this stuff here. Yeah, my brain is a little foggy. Let me see. So close. This has some marker work on it, so this might be me, because I did sometimes these borders I would do. I think the other side is me too. I'm not, because like Sharpies will brown and fade over time, so those borders are kind of not real pretty. I wonder where they got all these pages from. So this is the long shot stuff here. Oh, here's the cover gallery here. Here's holy shit. This is history right here. The actually both of them are, but the Captain America one that made the cover, everybody did that. Here's the issue I worked on. I know I did a lot of stuff with the Savage Land as well, but I think the Rogue one was, I did the whole book. Except, like I said, I think that Magneto page was in that issue, and Scott somehow swooped in and took the glory. Glory Hound. Oh my gosh, still so cool looking. Here's me on both. So this is Bishop. So Wilson and I were the first artists on to work on Bishop. There's my AT. So there's Bishop. And then these things look better in the black and white, man. So that's the Psylocke cover there. Psylocke and Sabretooth. Little Wolverine damage there. Wow, I don't remember that one, ever seeing it. Oh man, there's some of his trading card stuff in here too. There's Alpha Flight. They've got an Alpha Flight piece in here. Yeah. Hey, Jim Lee's in the chat. Jay Lee. Let me see. Yeah, there's a bunch of his trading card stuff in here. Killer. Okay. Maybe he said something on one of his live casts about me. Because I thought, oh, I know what it was. Scott Dunbier said they spelled my name wrong in the table of contents on some of the pages. Let me see how they spelled it. Well, that one's right. 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 I wonder where. I don't see any. Looks good to me, Scott. I don't see any type O's. No, it's all here. Yeah, he said that there was a misspelling and he apologized for it, but I don't see it. Thibert. 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 Let me see if there's another page. Oh, here's the rundown. I didn't see this. So maybe he does. Oh, Scott Williams does the write-up. Oh, that's cool. My goodness. Thank you so much, Scott Dunbier, for sending this out to me. This is indeed a treasure. It was a nice moment in time of my life. I'm so blessed and lucky to have been able to work with such great talents. Jim Lee, Will Spertasio, working side by side with Scott Williams, Homage Studios, Hack Shack Studios. Yeah, we were the shit. We were the shit for about a decade. Yeah, we ruled supreme. So thanks, guys, for letting me go through down memory lane. Once again, this is where it all started right here for me. I have photo documentation of it. There's Jim. San Diego Comic-Con. It had to have been still in the 80s, probably. So let me see. I have been neglecting you guys in the chat. That book is damn heavy. I feel like I just worked out at the gym. The Green Laser. Peace out. He's leaving. We got Vinny. How you doing, brother? Hey, Art. What's up, man? The great Vinny Tartamella. I have to slow down to say your name right. I have to slow down to say everybody's name right. Hey, Black Rose. Holy shit, my brother, my inking brother from another mother. It's Walden Wong. How you doing, my friend? We did a live stream, God, it was years ago, man. Walden is not only a really talented inker artist, but he's also a really nice guy. Excited to know your inks are in that book. Going to be some fun ink studying on your inks and Scott's inks. Oh man, thanks. Yeah, it's so funny because I do remember I think Scott used a French curve on some of this stuff. And if you don't know, like you can, if the French curve is raised, you can take a pin to it and you can ink with it and you can use it as a guide. I do remember in the day, and this is just a sense of pride, and I got Walden here and he's probably the only one who's going to care, is all of that stuff I did, no matter how long those lines were, those are all freehand. I did not use a French curve back then. I use one now because I'm lazy, but it was a source of pride. Like I did everything freehand. I remember talking with Dick Giordano, and he's like, those big lines, you got to get your whole arm into it. And he said sometimes I'd put a little talcum powder on my hand so it would flow, a little smoother. And so I always remember that, just like get that expression in there. And so I never used a French curve back then. So all those lines, all those hatch lines, we call it like uplighting, where it would kind of fade into a black. It usually came from the bottom up. It could go either way, actually. But it was everything I did was freehand, and it didn't matter how long the strokes were. So pretty crazy stuff. So love these stories, Art. Yeah, that's all I have. I'm an old man now. All I have is my stories. I'm gonna tell you kids how it used to be 40 years ago when I broke in the industry. We didn't have your fancy FedEx and your digital scanning. No, we walked it into New York City. We handed it to the editors. We didn't even have post. We didn't even have a post office. No, we did. Jay Lee, the great Jay Lee. It's cool. I still have all those books from back then, including the X Factor books. Killer, man. Killer. The new house. Yeah, this is the new house in Texas. I left California, and I don't regret it. The only thing I miss is my daughter. She stayed back there. So, I'm not a huge X-Men fan. Let me see what Jasper 9 says. I'm not a huge X-Men fan, and I'd like to own some of those issues. I'll tell you, because I'm going through the T-Bear archive. We're moving everything, the vault, to Texas from California. So I'm putting everything in a bag. I'm organizing everything. I'm doing what I should have done, 30, 40 years ago. And it's fun to look at those old books, but the printing and the coloring and everything, it's not all that great. So what's really neat about these artist editions is they're the original pieces of artwork. Like you even see the blue line around the edge and the discoloration of the page and all that stuff. So it's really fun to see that, and you realize how much work went into those pages that you can't really see in the comic book itself. So I think it's really neat to see that stuff. I do want to I want to do something that's worthy of it first. And I want to do an 11 by 17 comic. Like they did, what was it? Tokyo Ghost. Like Sean Gordon Murphy did Tokyo Ghost, and they did like an 11 by 17 black and white version of that book. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I love that stuff. So I would love to be able to crowdfund something like that. But first, I'd have to do some artwork that's really worthy of it. Something that I wasn't relying on color. So, very either grayscale stuff or, very, hatch oriented. So I can bring a grayscale to it with the hatch work, which I do still, but it's kind of minimal because I'm kind of leaving things open for color. But if I know it's going to be black and white, I would go balls out on it. Something, like I said, worthy of 11 by 17. My brother, I have another brother, Comic Book Bob. I want one of those freaking bad. I think they retail for like $150 or something like that. I saw it, let me see, 127, 100. Yeah, they could range anywhere between like 127 and 156 used on eBay. So that's crazy. Yeah, I think there was one. Scott was like, give me your address and I'll send you one. I think he said it was his copy of it though. And it had some of my cable artwork, like some of the covers that I penciled up and things in the book. And he said, I'll send it out to you. But I think he also said it was his copy. So I never called him on it because I don't want to take somebody's personal copy. Because I don't think they print a lot of these books. They look very expensive to make. What is this? Haggis Moose. Art discovered cell phones a few years ago. Before that, he was on smoke signals. How did you know? How did you know? That's exactly what I was doing. I still don't own a cell phone. What's the point? I never leave the house, and when I do, I'm usually with my daughter or my wife, and they have cell phones. So I paid for their cell phones, but I just don't have one. I get a burner phone when I go to conventions and stuff. Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry about that. The weather's changing. So I miss cons. Yeah. They're coming back. I think there's going to be the big one here in Texas. I got invited to that, and there's going to be another one too I was invited to. So I'm not sure if I'm going to attend. Glitch says, that's why I like Tucci's rough cut editions of She. Yeah, I like all that behind the scenes stuff. It's pretty amazing. Sheldon Martin, I can't resist. Whenever I see your name, I have to click on it. I have to. If you're going to have a house in Texas, you have a fiddle in the band. Is that like the devil went down to Georgia thing? Fiddle in the band. I'm not sure what that's about. Sounds fun though. Bob says, love the giant sized books. They did way back when. Oh, those Treasury size ones? Like, are you talking way back then? Holy shit. When those things came out, I was the perfect age. I was probably, 10, 12 years old, something like that. And I can't believe that actually like supermarkets and stuff carried those Treasury size books. And they would put them on, like with the magazines. They didn't put them in the spinner racks because obviously they didn't fit. That was badass. I always liked going over to the actual, like where the magazines were when you went to like a liquor store or something like that. That was my thing. Like, it sounds weird now, like kids in a liquor store, but they had candy there, they had soda there, they had comic books there, they had baseball trading cards, they had all the stuff for kids. So I went in And so the one thing, Marvel had the magazine. I don't know if you guys remember, they had magazine size books, and I think those were black and white too, and they were usually painted or like some kind of upscale. So the cover was always painted. So they had those over there, and then they had like heavy metal, and then they had the Treasury size. So I had a reason as a kid to go over there, and what I'd always do is I'd just take a peek at the Playboys. Yeah, why not? You could kind of go, well, I'm supposed to be here. I'm a kid. You got some kid stuff over here, so why not? And I never got caught. Either that or the guy just didn't care. Yeah, leg kick. I think I think that's what Bob's talking about, the Treasury size books. Because I think for me, still the classic is there's the Muhammad Ali Superman. Weird idea, right? Muhammad Ali Superman. Who thought this up? It's really odd, but the artwork is gorgeous, just really gorgeous. And I think DC recently reissued those with like cleaned up scans and digital coloring. And then the other one that just changed my life was the Spider-Man Superman. That one for me was even better. Like just the way that they met first. I think it was like a newspaper convention or a journalism convention or something like that. So Peter Parker was there with Mary Jane, and Clark was there with Lois, and I think they first met, as Peter and Clark. So it was cool. Like Peter had like a sweater on, and Clark was in his suit and tie. Pretty cool stuff, man. I think Bob says he's going to bite the bullet and he's going to get one. Okay, so Alamo City Comic Con, Apple said he's hoping to get it done this year. So maybe that was it. Yeah. So if it's local, I'll go for sure. There's 2 local comic shops here that want me to do a book signing as well. I think secretly I keep waiting for COVID to just go away because I don't like wearing those stupid ass masks. Linkovich says, if you're going to pay or play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band. That's a country song. Oh, okay. All right. I got it. I got it now. Sheldon Linkovich helped you out. The only one I know is like The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and there's that whole fiddle battle. Tatooine. I love the name. Tatooine. I got my candy cigarettes fix at liquor stores back in the day. I tried cigarettes when I was young. I didn't like. It's not that I couldn't. Like everybody's like, oh, the first time I smoked a cigarette, I coughed my lungs out, and I didn't like it. It wasn't even that, because everybody in my family smoked, and they smoked all the time. So I was already like, my lungs were used to it. I just didn't care for it. I didn't like it. And it wasn't because it made me cough. I just didn't care for it. I always thought, like, if you're going to do something like that, there should be an effect. Like, if you drink a beer, you can get drunk. If you smoke a joint, you can get high. If you smoke a cigarette, what the hell do you get out of it? You get nothing. I don't even think you look that cool. To be honest, I think there are some people that look cool, but nobody I knew. Dallas Fan Expo is scheduled for September. Not sure how that's going to work. If it happens, no guests announced. Yeah, like I said, I don't know about 8 hours, 10 hours with the mask on. I don't know about that. I think it's Leg Kick talking about the magazines. Yeah, there was Savage Sword of Conan was one of those magazines. I think they did have like a Rampaging Hulk one. Maybe Monsters Unleashed. I don't really remember that one, but I'm sure it was there. Pop Culture Avenger, RT Bear. There has been a small Comic Con going on a regular basis here in the Northeast. It's not really a con. Small 20, 25 dealers. Been buying up Silver and Bronze Age. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, they used to have one. Well, they still have it in California. It was Frankensons, and I think it was the first weekend of every month or something like that. They had a convention, and between the big shows, you could go there and get your comic book fix. Superheroes being journalists would work now that media is dying, trying to get PPL to read. Click on them. Yeah, I thought what would be an interesting challenge. And I remember when Taylor Grosso was working here at Hack Shack, we would talk about like just stories and what we might want to write if we were working for the mainstream. And so we used to talk about like this Lois Lane story, and just that Lois Lane would be a great character right now. With the news media being what it is, and there's with like fake news and all this stuff that's going on, and there used to always be this like arrogance. It was almost blatant, like with the news. It's like I'm the newsmaker. I can write the news. I can make or break you, with my pen as a journalist. So you always relied on those guys to have integrity and to do the right thing. And now it just doesn't seem to matter. Everything's clickbaity, and on the internet, I don't even think you don't even need to like follow the regulations of like a newspaper or magazines, things like that. So it's even worse now. So I thought it would be a great place to like put Lois in there, like she's a character of very just integrity. And so to put her into a modern kind of journalistic situation, I thought would be interesting. I didn't have any specific story ideas or anything, but I just thought it would be interesting to put her into that type of environment, like a modern day newsroom. It would take a lot of work, man. It would take a lot of work to figure out how to do it and to try to be fair, because you wouldn't want to be biased or you wouldn't want to be too political with it. But it would be fun to kind of hold the mirror up to some of the shenanigans that are happening these days. Jasper9 says Dallas Fan Expo gets 60K attendees. I've done that show before, like a couple years ago. I like that show. I made a bunch of money. Yeah, that's one thing that I really liked about Texas even before I moved here. Unlike a lot of other places in the country, specifically California, people in Texas they're not financially burdened. Like California is so expensive, people don't spend money there. And what's nice about here, from what I've seen, that people spend money. So when you go to a convention, they don't hem and haw about the price. They don't look at it and then put it down and walk away. If they see something, primarily they'll just pay for it, and they won't try to talk you down or anything like that. So I do like it here. So I am looking forward to getting back and hanging out with you guys face to face. Although this is a blast too, man. Just YouTubing it with you guys, hanging out in the chat. I look forward to it all the time. If I could, I would never leave you guys. Rucka, not political with his Lois Lane. It turned people. Got political with Lois Lane. It turned people off. Yeah, I wouldn't do that unless I could, do like a 50-50 kind of thing where you show the pros and cons and you try to be fair with whatever it is, because that's what I think is lacking the most. Like a lot of news is just they actually tell you how to feel about it or how to think about the article. So they spin it like, look at this guy, isn't he evil? Or this thing, isn't it bad? So they preface everything and they tell you how to feel about the article instead of just writing the article and letting you evaluate what you think about it. So they tell you basically what to think and how to feel about the issues, which is really, it's really bad. It's really bad. Like we're starting to actually reap the rewards of this kind of journalism, and what is it? It's also just the clickbaity kind of immediate kind of headline stuff that never gets questioned. So nobody ever reads. Well, one thing, there's no long form talk shows anymore, which also is why I think these things are cool, like podcast and YouTube, because a lot of times this is more long form type of interaction versus just like clickbait, quick headline, and then move on to the next thing. And I believe that a lot of these issues are a lot deeper than just a clickbaity headline. I think people need to start reading this stuff again. That would probably help. So Walden Wong is still, we haven't lost Walden yet. So I must be riveting. I must be absolutely riveting for Walden to hang out, because Walden's attention span, I don't know if you guys know it, it's about this long. It's not. That's not true. Walden is probably one of the most patient people I've met in a long, long time. Would love to hear your stories about Hack Shack Studios back in the day, who you trained and worked with at Hack Shack. One of the first guys I was in life drawing with, and I met him, it was Trevor Scott. I think he was fresh out of high school. And Trevor Scott was one of the first hires at Homage Studios. And Jim wasn't messing around because he knew I trained him well. And so Trevor and I were working on several books together. So he did hard lines. Like, he didn't do textured on the backgrounds or any of the hatching or stuff like that. He was mainly a hard line guy. So anything with a ruler or a French curve, he did. And then he would do my blacks, fill the black areas, stuff like that. And so I worked with him. And so the main reason I wanted to start working with an assistant is so I could increase my output and get more work done. And then I was convinced also, and I still am, I had this conversation with Scott Hanna. Scott Hanna prides himself on not working with assistants and stuff. But I told Scott, if you work with assistants, that stuff is easier to do, and it is time consuming, but then you could focus more on figures and your hatching and things that are more important, things that really people pay attention to. Nothing against backgrounds, but that was the thing. So I told him, with that extra time, I usually end up putting it into the figures, or I'm able to do more work, but I'm able to bring the quality up as well. It sounds strange that you're not doing everything, but if you have a good assistant, then the quality remains. And so Trevor and I basically just kind of built Hack Shack Studios together in the early days. And then we had another guy, his name was John Owen, and he came in and he was kind of like Trevor's assistant. So he would, whatever Trevor needed, John could do. And so John worked for a while, and then we outgrew the little studio we had. So then we got a bigger studio, and we brought Danny Mickey in. So I still can't believe it. I had Danny Mickey and Trevor Scott working at the same time in the same location. And I often think, like, okay, first hires, okay, Homage, Trevor, because we were already doing the X books. We already worked with Jim and Wills, right? And then Danny Mickey, Extreme Studios. So those guys knew the value of inking. They both knew. And so both of those studios were based on, they wouldn't have been able to branch out if it wasn't for those two guys. So those two guys allowed, Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld to expand. And I still did quite a bit of work and kept going. But I thought, just, how you have those like weird thoughts, like, what if I kept those two guys? Because they both asked me. They said, is it okay if I do this? So they were very respectful, and they knew, they knew that we were doing some kick-ass stuff too. So Danny was really heartfelt. Like, he's like, I won't do it. I won't do it if you don't want me to. And so what do? You have to say, well, if it's a good opportunity and it's something you really want to do, go do it. I can't stand in your way. I do appreciate the respect, though. And so those guys moved on, and then, history was made in both those studios because Image built up from there. And those guys were kind of linchpins at both studios. And so then eventually I went over to Extreme and started working with new inkers. So one of the things I did for Rob was like new talent search, and then I would work with the new inkers, you know, while I was there. But I think there was another guy, and I ended up working with him. I can't remember his name now, but he ended up leaving Hack Shack. This was early days still. It was Kelly something, and he ended up penciling and inking that book for Marvel, Sleepwalker, I think it was. Yeah, he was really good. He didn't really take instruction very well, but he was really talented. He used to end up just drawing and inking things that weren't even there in the pencils. So I think we just agreed to just, you know, just part ways. But he was really good. And then I think there was the Extreme Studios days where, you know, just working with all those guys. You know, there's Larry Stucker, there was Jaime Mendoza, there was there was Marlo Acquiesa, John Sabal. Oh my God, what a beast! Just a ton of guys. So then when Rob's Extreme Studios was kind of falling apart, you know, because the market was changing, I had already left there, and so I started a new studio with a couple Extreme guys. So Jeff Matsuda, Sam Liu, Chap Yap, and some of the color guys, Christian Leitner, Aaron. We all just kind of like, we had like 3 rooms, and then we had a main room. So we had like a pencil section, we had an ink section, and we had a color section. So basically we just freaking put out books for Marvel. I think we worked for Malibu, Jeff and I, and then we went over. I think I started working with the Kubert brothers on X projects. And so I started building back up my resume, and Jeff started building up pretty quickly as well. So we were bringing in work at that studio. We never had a studio name. It was just like, I think they had a pencil studio name, and this was Hack Shack, like volume 2. So when I went over there, you know, I was just inking my own books, and then some of the Extreme guys would come by the studio, and they would tell us like what's happening and that they're worried about their future, things like that. So I think Jeff might have brought in one guy. I think Chris brought in Aaron, and then I brought in Jaime Mendoza. And Jaime he's a beast, man. He's working mainly on Bat books these days, and so just extremely talented. And I was still trying to get Black and White going. So Jaime, actually, there's some issues of Black and White that Jaime inked that have never seen the light of day. So I still have those. Jaime is like, we got to do this again. He talks to me, you know, behind the scenes. So he's still willing. So that might be you know, something to do in the future. But yeah, so there was Jaime, like I said. Then Larry Stucker left Extreme Studios and started working at Hack Shack. It was like volume 2. It was like, you know, it was like kind of building it up again. Like we had the early Hack Shack, then I went over to Image, and it kind of dissolved. And then when I, you know, left, I kind of rebuilt it, and it was mostly because of Jaime's enthusiasm. Like he was really enthusiastic about doing it. So then that studio kind of fell apart. Jeff went on to animation. He started working on the Jackie Chan Adventures. I think he was doing design work on that, and then he did the Batman show. He did designs for, I think, all those guys. Like even Chap, they went and started working for Sony Animation, and then they ended up working over at Warner Brothers, because I know Sam Liu directs a lot of the direct-to-video, like comic book cartoon movies. So those guys were really successful outside of that. So they went there. Jaime and I were expanding. So I think he had 2 books. I had 2 books. I was inking X Factor, and I was inking Carlos Pacheco on X-Men. And Jaime was doing, I think he was doing one of the 2099 books, and then he was inking Heroes for Hire. So we both had 2 books, but we both had personal assistants too. And so one of the assistants we brought in was Sean Parsons, and he was just starting to come up into his own over at Extreme. So he came in, and with a little bit of training, that guy became a monster. And so he ended up getting his own book. I got him his own book, and he was still assisting me on other things as well. And then I can't remember who else. There was Alan Martinez, who came over, and I worked with him for a bit. And then he left because he was kind of doing double duty. It's so funny, man. He was working with, because I lived real close to Norm Rapman, Danny Mickey, and then the studio was in that general area. So those guys would come and hang out. So I think Alan was working with Danny as well on Spawn. So he was assisting Danny on the Spawn books. And I think that Alan and I worked on the Bishop ongoing series with George's Agentes. We worked on that book together. So yeah, we were just building. I mean, at one time, I think we had 6, 7 titles that we were responsible for at the studio. So we were just banging out books, and we were getting stuff done on time, and it was looking great. So there was Sean Parsons, who's a DC guy now. There was Andy Owens. Andy Owens actually was early with Volume 2. So Andy is a DC guy too. I think he works with Scott McDaniels a lot. So there's just a bunch of guys. Over at Extreme too, brought in Tim Townsend. So Tim Townsend was working as my assistant for a while. I think he just did a little bit of the Extreme studio stuff, and he worked with me on Greg Capullo's Spawn. So he did some of the hardline stuff on that. So yeah, there's been a ton of guys. They're all A-listers, man. A lot of guys have studio assistants, but they're kind of lesser known guys or just never did anything. So most of the guys that came out of Hack Shack Studios under my tutelage did some freaking major things. Like Danny Mickey on Spawn just exploded. As soon as he got out of the Extreme Studios kind of house style, which was based on, the West Coast style, which is what, Jim, Will, Scott, and myself were kind of doing. He just exploded. He kind of brought in more of kind of a what is his name? Bernie Wrightson kind of look. It was very it's a very kind of organic render style. Oh, Walden says he inked. Yeah, Trevor's also a penciler too. A one on splash page. He was kind and let me keep the page when it was done. Yeah. Also, Walden, I think you inked me on was it a Hawkman story? Like I penciled. I think it was a backup or something like that in Hawkman, and you inked me. Hey, oh my gosh, you talk about talent. We got Kelsey Shannon in the house. Shannon is freaking beast, man. So good, so freaking good. We got Philip. Philip's in the house. Comics Gate's own Philip. Magic Cop, I think, is Magic Cop going to launch this week? I think. Well, look what you started, Walden. You got me all into this memory lane inker thing. So that was a tangent that wasn't foreseen. So I think Kelsey worked over at what was it called? I want to say it was Udon, but it wasn't. I forget. Gaijing, and I think George's worked there too. Didn't you guys have an outgoing message, like answer machine message? It was like some kind of sexy Asian chick that you would talk to. It was funny. I always liked calling over at Gauging because it was depending on who, what time of day. You might talk to Jason Pearson, you might talk to Georges, you might talk to whoever was there at the time. So it was pretty cool. So you always got to talk to shit to somebody. Zaid Comics, $5. Thank you so much. Hail Art and the chat. Hope you guys join us tomorrow. Okay, so it is Friday, you guys. Magic Cop is launching. Magic Cop 2 is launching tomorrow. So go give the Zaid brothers some loving. They are workhorses, man. And Philip Diaz, just a great idea, man. And also somehow he's channeling old school comics because I don't know, that guy's like what do they call that? He's an old soul. Like I can talk to him forever. He's a young guy, but it's like he knows all the tropes. He knows like radio show guys. He knows like pulp stuff. He knows all kinds of stuff. So what was it called? The Pages. I forget his other story. But that was kind of an ode. The Lost Pages. It was an ode to all of that stuff. All the old school adventure characters. Kelsey is seeing if Jay Lee, you got a website. This isn't like Jay Lee, is it? It can't be. If it is, welcome to the show, my friend. Or is this a different Jay? This has got to be a different Jay. So it sounds like he's an artist as well. Yeah, put a link up if you can. Yeah. Kelsey, Walden is in here. I tried to work with Walden years ago, but it didn't pan out. Sometimes it's hard to convince editors about a team up. Yeah. And I know that Walden gets paid the big bucks. Like he's probably the most expensive inker in the business. So a lot of times inkers won't work with people like that because they're just going to break the bank. I totally made that up. That's a lie. All right, Walden, again, Marlo, he helped me along the way with inking. Killer, man, killer. I have some Marlo stories, but I can't tell them. And if I ever do tell them, I'm going to have to be so drunk and with the right company to coax it out of me because it's rather rude. Liquid, yeah, those guys, Liquid Color, exactly. Liquid Color was created in front of my very eyes, man. Yeah, I remember when they came up with the name. I remember the different logo types and all of us kind of chiming in on how, like our little 2 cents on how it should look. Jeff and myself, yeah, just throwing some stuff in there. Yeah, it was fun. It's interesting when you look back and you think about studios and camaraderie and things, and it's almost kind of like it had to happen. Like you just were so like-minded and you needed like freedom, or you needed someplace to go to be creative. A lot of it this sounds weird, but like they're safe havens. Like you have to create these environments where you feel safe to create, and not like you're going to be attacked and stuff like that. So when Jeff and I were looking to become studio buds, that's where a lot of that came from. Getting out of Extreme Studios and kind of creating a place that we felt safe to create our own stuff, outside of a studio. Yeah, those guys were good. They were really good. They got a lot of work done, and they started bringing in assistants as well. Yeah, we were just creative machines back then. We were putting out the books. It was crazy, man. Art, all these people you work with, so amazing. Yeah, I still can't. it's weird. Like you look back and you just go, wow, just interesting times. I think you just build something and it attracts people after a while. It kind of creates its own energy, kind of like Comicsgate. You kind of come in and you have a thread of an idea, like a little, and then it just kind of builds from there. I'm trying to read and talk. It's rather difficult. Yeah, you got kind of a little idea, little light bulb. People come in, start supporting the idea, and before you know it, you have a juggernaut. And that's how these things start. And I still really believe in my heart of hearts that Comicsgate, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Look at the people in the chat just here. It's pretty crazy. Kelsey's one of them. Jaime had just left to work professionally before I came in with Jay Lee and the gang. I never got to hang with them. Jaime. Interesting. So where was that at, Kelsey? Because Jaime was a California guy, and then I think he moved to Texas. Yeah, he's crazy. Danny's crazy. He likes to party too. He's a little party hardier. Yeah. Yeah, Kelsey is amazing. Great stuff. He works in like different styles too. Yeah, Carrie and Buds with Brian Denham. Yeah, Denham worked at Extreme over in San Antonio. I did not know that, Kelsey. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, Jaime works really good in studio environments. Sketch Therapy says Magic Cop is going to rock. Yes, indeed, do. And then, yeah, Lost Pages. That thing, that was a great campaign. Great looking pages. Great idea. I really dig that idea. Oh, is Shadow of the Kraken? Somebody give me a link. Is this your book, Vinny? We'll show it off here. So if somebody has a link to Shadow of the Kraken, I didn't know you only have a week left. Yeah, we'll talk about it. I'm kind of way out of the loop, you guys. I have moments where I just kind of draw. I don't do anything. I kind of keep up some of the social media, but I just kind of get lost in the work. I cannot help it. Was that Chris Leitner? Christian? Chris who? Small world too. This industry is really small. Everybody knows everybody. RT Bear, my best friend is Alexander Babis. Hates comics now mainly because of how toxic the comic book fandom has become. Yeah, there's always that. But you're not going to get a lot of toxicity here. Not from this guy. I'll talk shit though. I'm not opposed to that. Vinny says it is. So maybe somebody in the chat, if they could give me, I'm going to try to see if I can find something. Let's see if I can find it. This takes me forever to find anything. Let's see, Vinny Tartamella. Let's throw some light his way. Where are you, Vinny? Where are you? Vinny and I have been out of contact. This has got to stop. There you are. Okay. So where is it? Shadow of the Kraken, newest campaign. All right, I got it. I got it. It's your pirate book. All right, well, let's do this. Let's share. Let's go to Vinnytown. Short bus to Vinnytown. Here we go. Shadow of the Kraken. 8 days left. This is Vinny Tartamella's new book. 12,658. No joke, man. Kicking some ass. 230 backers. Let's see what this is all about. This is a tale about the darkness of man and the actions one takes to get back into the light. Ooh, I like that. A hunt for treasure and power, with betrayal looming around every corner. The fight for survival is palpable. This is a can't miss adventure. The desire for freedom on the open seas awaits you. Wow, that was really well written there. Not only are you a talented writer, but a brilliant artist. Look at this. Look at this shit. Yeah, Vinny doesn't mess around. That's beautiful, man. Is that the cover? Is that the main cover? 50 pages of gorgeous art and story, all by Vinny. All by Vinny. Possibly more pages if we hit the stretch goal. Oh, there you go. 60 pages or 50 pages is a lot. 60 pages is amazing. Shadow of the Kraken. Look at that. Oh my gosh. You're going to get some Jaws action in this book. Sexy pirate chicks. Look at that. More sexy pirate chicks. A guy without an eye. Look at that. Oh, I like the ship with this little Kraken shadow coming off of it. That's cool. Oh, look at this. Yeah, back this book today, you guys. This looks really good. Look at that. Taking a little shot. Look at Woo. He's like, ooh la la. There's a little knife in a piece of fruit there. Wonder what that means. Oh, look at that. Wow. Inspired shots here, brother. Oh my gosh, is this the origin of the guy without the eye? Wait a minute. No, that's his other eye. This is another guy. There's a lot of eye jabbing here. Ooh, we got some beanies, keychains, exclusive prints, main cover, exclusive cover. Oh, cool. I like them both. Oh, wow. Help unlock these treasures. Okay, so 25K is the bookmark, 35K is the mini print, 50 more pages of art, 75. You get a free ash can? Holy shit. Cool stuff here, Vinny. This was a fun tangent. Yeah, you guys, go check out Shadow of the Kraken. This is Vinny Tartamella's new book. It's doing great. There's only 8 days left. So get on it, my friends. Vinny's one of the good guys. Okay, I'm gonna start wrapping this up. I'm a sexy robot kind of person. I'm drawing a bunch of different robots for black and white, so maybe I should do a sexy robot. Sexy robot. Walden, thank you for all the great stories and for sharing the artist edition art. Take care of yourself. Take care and be well, my friend. You too. Walden is one of the greats, truly, and just a great person. Vinny is great as well. I appreciated art. Thank you, brother. Never a problem. Never a problem. Just bring that stuff to my attention because there's so much every day, and it's so hard to keep track of everything for myself. To create and get things done here, and then to keep track of stuff. Yeah, Comicsgate is growing in the best of ways. So I'm so proud of all you guys. We are kicking ass and taking names. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for letting me share the artist edition with you. Jim Lee Memory Lane, and then actually getting to talk about Hack Shack a little bit. Thank you, Walden, for that question. That was great. Tangents are the best part of life. I always say that. So thank you, Philip, for the super chat. He's going to launch Magic Cop 2. So check that out tomorrow. That's Friday. And Chrono Mechanics is still in demand. So if you want to get some reading material, go back a Chrono Mechanics book. They are going out as soon as we get the orders. And Pamela's been on it. I have been saying a week. They're going out quicker than a week. So everybody that's ordered a Chrono book in the last week or two, I believe the last bunch of them is going out today. I think that she's at the post office right now. So those books are going out as they get ordered. So there's no delay as far as that. So pick yourself up a Chrono Mechanics book today, get it within a couple days, and the next thing you know, you're going to be having a great reading experience. It is perhaps the greatest book ever created. That's Chrono Mechanics. Time travel and repairman, they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. Take that, and I will see you, I believe tonight, we have on Dan Frega's channel, we are doing this Spill in the Ink, where a bunch of old school comic book artists like myself are going to talk about all the crazy days and different insight on this industry that we know and love. So if you guys don't know, it's Billy Tucci, Dan Frega, it's Aaron Lopresti, it's Graham Nolan, it's Andy Smith, and myself. And we just talk about, we get a subject and we talk about that for about an hour or so. And we're doing rotations. So it's kind of like what Kelsey's doing with the Jack Show. Each week is hosted by somebody different, and we're doing it every, I think today is still Wednesday, Thursday. Why did I say Wednesday? Thursday night. So Thursday night, 8 Eastern time, and it's going to be on Dan Frega's channel. And I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. And I think next week is going to be on Billy's, and then the following week it'll go back to me, and that means that we've done 5 weeks. So 5 weeks, a month and a half of the show. So yeah, come by, support. If you know people that like this type of entertainment, you know, people talking about the good old days of comics and showing stuff off and hanging out with other artists in the chat like Kelsey and Walden Wong, please tweet out, let them know that this is what we're doing, because getting more eyes on these YouTube channels is good stuff. Also Kelsey has a channel, Philip Diaz has a channel, and Walden Wong has a really successful channel. He does a lot of tutorials, things like that. So go sub Walden's channel as well as my own. So yeah, give me a thumbs up before you guys take off. I would appreciate that. And I'll see you guys later tonight on Dan Frega's channel. Oh, wait. Holy poop. Sheldon, thank you so much. $5 fun stream. Thanks, Art. Hey, never a problem, man. I like Sheldon. I can zing. Sheldon zings me. I think Spirits Car does. He gives me some zingers. So it's all good. I like hanging out with you guys. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, come on, see us tonight. We're going to talk about some stuff, and I'll let everybody go. So thanks again, Sheldon, for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Take care, guys.